Hi, welcome to Driving TV, and I hope you are well. In this video, I'd like to talk to you about the mistakes of learners. So the learners, when they are learning in the beginning, there are some common mistakes the learners are making until eventually they learn those and they become better and then they pass the test. So I've made a list of 12 mistakes the learners are making in the beginning, which I like to share with you in this video. Hopefully it will help you to understand the common mistakes the learners are making, and hopefully if they are your problems or if they are your mistakes, you will learn how you can improve so that you don't make those mistakes in the future lessons or in your lessons. So let's start the lesson. Number one, don't feel comfortable. So the learners, when they are learning to drive in the beginning, they don't feel comfortable when they are driving because they feel that the seat is not adjusted properly. Now obviously in the beginning, make sure you reach the pedals, you could reach the controls, and you are comfortable when you're driving, but give yourself few lessons. You will be okay after a few lessons because it's something new for you, and once you are after a few lessons, you will be okay. The seat will be okay for you. So my advice is that make sure you are comfortable, make sure you reach the pedals properly and the controls, and then after that give yourself few lessons and you will be okay. You will be fine because it's something new for you. Once you get used to it, the seat will be okay for you. So don't feel fidgety, and if you feel uncomfortable, obviously if it's not right, try to stop the car and adjust if something needs to be adjusted, but other than that, give yourself few lessons, you will be fine. Not looking at the mirrors. Now if you are having lessons, you will know that your instructor keep reminding you, look at the mirror, look at the mirror. It's because the learners, they keep forgetting or they don't remember to look at the mirror every 5 to 8 seconds. Before you do anything, before changing gear, before slowing down, before giving gas, before braking, you need to look at the mirror before all that, as well as if you are driving on a road where it's a long stretch of road and there is not much you need to do, you're just driving in a long road, try to look at the mirror every 5 to 8 seconds to see who's behind, because problems are not just coming from there, problems are also coming from behind. So make sure you look at the mirror, the top one especially, every 5 to 8 seconds. Okay, so one of the problem, like I said, learners make is they don't look at the top mirror especially every 5 to 8 seconds. Not reading the road well ahead. And this is a common mistake for many learners, that the problems are happening but they don't recognize those problems. Why? Is because they don't read the road. The problem is there, it's always been there, but the learners are not reading the road when they are driving. Your job is to read and see what's happening. Okay, sometimes the problem is there, you're just passing the problem without knowing there is a problem. It's because you don't read what's ahead of you. Okay, so always read. For example, you are approaching a road where there is a traffic light coming up. Now it could be green. If it's green, what could happen? It could change. If it's red, what could happen? If the person walking on the street with a child, what could happen? With a dog, what could happen? Parked cars, what could happen? Door could open, somebody could come up. So these are the problems you will face when you are driving, and the only way you're going to deal with those problems is when you are reading the road well ahead. Okay, so don't just drive like a tunnel vision and you don't know what's happening around. Try to drive so you analyze what's happening ahead so that you know what is happening. Okay, remember, unless you read, unless you analyze what's happening, the problem will always going to be there, but you're not going to recognize it, and it's just going to happen and you think, oh, where does that come from? Or where did that come from? It's because you didn't read, and for you it just happened is because you didn't read the road well ahead. Covering the clutch at all times. This is one of the common problems for many learners. They don't put the clutch feet on the floor. So when they're driving, they cover the clutch at all time. Okay, you shouldn't cover the clutch at all time. You should have your feet, the left feet, on the floor resting when you are driving. Okay, why? Because you don't need the clutch all the time. You only need the gas for you to drive the car. Okay, there are only 3 different places where you need the clutch. One is to move the car, another is to change gear, and the other is you put the clutch down just at the end when you stop the car fully to keep the engine running. Other than that, you don't need the clutch. You put your feet on the floor when you are driving. Many learners, they cover the clutch and they keep covering all the way when they are driving the car. Try to rest your feet on the floor. You don't need it. Now, what's the problem if you cover the clutch? The problem is that if you need to stop the car, instead of braking, you're going to put the clutch down first, and that's the problem. Because if you put the clutch down, the wheel becomes free and you will need more brake to stop the car, which means you could skid. So that's why you shouldn't cover the clutch. That's one problem. The other problem is that if you keep covering the clutch without you knowing, your brain is actually working on that feet for no reason. Okay, your full concentration should be on the road ahead. So if you keep covering the clutch, what's going to happen? Your mind is actually working on that feet for no reason. If you put on the floor, your mind is working more ahead what's happening. So try to learn so that you don't cover the clutch at all time. Rest your feet on the floor and drive without covering the clutch. Don't have enough time. Many learners, when they are dealing with junctions, roundabouts, or they are doing something but they don't have enough time, they are rushing, or they are doing the steering too quickly, or they feel that they need to do it quickly because they don't have enough time. And the reason they don't have enough time is because they don't slow down. If you need more time when you are driving, what do? So say you want to go left or you want to go right, and the junction is quite small or narrow. You need to go slowly. If you need to go slowly, what do? How do you get more time? You slow down, right? You cover the brake and you gently brake. The more you brake, more the car will slow down, so the more time you will have for you to deal with the junction or the thing that you are about to do. Okay, so if you need more time, all you have to do is cover the brake and gently brake. If you brake, you will get more time for you to do the task you want to do. Okay, now this is a common one I face by many learners, is that when they make a mistake and then you say that, why did you do that mistake, or why did you do that? They say, I don't know. It's very common. I mean, this is a very common one. Many learners, they will say, I don't know. Even though they know the answer, there's I don't know. It's because they just do it. Okay, so before you do anything, think. Many times the learners do things without thinking. So whatever you need to do when you're driving, think the reason behind and think why you want to do that or why you are doing that. Think before you do it. Okay, so you need to slow the car. Think, what do I need? Do I need the brake or do I need the clutch? If you don't think, you probably will put the clutch down first and then stop braking. Think of the reason your instructor gave you, or you've read about, or you've seen the video and you know the reason why. So if you need to slow the car, what do? You cover the brake and you brake. Don't put the clutch down. So before you do anything, so for example, you're coming up, there's a traffic light coming up. What's the first thing you need to do? You look at the mirror and then you start braking. Okay, think of the reason, think what you are about to do, and then you will know that you have the answer already. Because if you ask it, you will have the answer. If you don't ask, you're not going to get the answer. Most of the time, you have the answer. You just don't do it, is because you don't ask it. Trust me, many things that you are making mistakes on, you have the answer, you just don't think, you're just doing it, and then you are thinking. So what I mostly do with my learners is when they ask me a question or when they do a mistake, I give them the question. When I give them the question, they have the answer already. I don't have to give them the answer. They already have it. So that's one of the things that I do with my learners, is that when they make a mistake or when they ask me a question, I give them another question, and then they realize they've already got the answer. So before you do anything, whether you need to go left or you need to go right or you need to stop, think what you are about to do and say, okay, what do I need to do that? You will know most of the time you already have the answers. Trust me, I know, because I'm telling you from my experience. Many learners, they have the answer, but they just don't ask it before they do it. Ask yourself, you will know you have the answer already. Don't copy the car in front. Many learners, they copy the car in front, especially when they are stopping behind a traffic light or on a queue of traffic. Okay, so when you're driving your car and you stop behind a car, maybe on a traffic light, don't copy the car in front. So say you want to go straight or you want to go left, and the car in front maybe wants to go right, and they are positioning their car towards right. Now, because you're not thinking what they're doing, maybe they're not signaling yet. They will do a bit later. Or maybe they don't want to go right, but their position is wrong. They should have been more on the left, but they are on the right. And if you copy the car in front, what's going to happen? you're going to do the same, right? So make sure that you don't copy the car in front. Ask the question. You are stopping behind a car on the traffic light. Ask, am I going straight, or am I going right, or am I going left? If I need to go left or straight, where do I need to position? Don't copy the car in front, because maybe they are wrong. And if they are wrong, and if you copy, you're going to be the same. Many learners, they just copy the car in front without knowing that the car in front is maybe not doing the right thing at the right time. So don't copy the car in front. Or remember to take the signal off. Many learners, two things they're making mistakes on, two common mistakes when it comes to signaling. So they look at the mirror, they put the signal on when they're going left or right, just say, okay? So they put the signal on, and then once they've made the turn, two mistakes they're making. Number one, they either try to take the signal off too early, or they don't take the signal off after they've made the maneuver, okay? So once you've done the maneuver, maybe you've gone left or you've gone right, you've signaled to go, try not to take the signal off too early, because your main priority is to get the wheel straight. So you've signaled already and you've steered to go round, and then your job is to get the car straight. Again, try not to play with this signal or the indicator when you've just made the turn. Try to get the car straight. When the car is straight, the signal will come off automatically. If it doesn't come off, then take it off. Many learners, they don't take it off because sometimes the signal doesn't come off. You have to take the signal off, okay? So when we talk about the signaling, don't take it off too early, or remember to take the signal off once you've gone and made the maneuver, okay? Putting the clutch down too early. Many learners, just before they stop the car fully, what they do is they put the clutch down too early. So for example, they need to stop or they need to slow down. What do? You cover the brake and you gently brake to stop the car, and then you put the clutch down at the end, not in the beginning, okay? Many learners, what they do is if they need to slow the car or to stop the car, they put the clutch down first and then they brake. It should be the other way around. You could cover the clutch and cover the brake and gently brake, okay? Slow the car first, and just before you stop fully, then you put the clutch down, not before. Because for you to stop the car or to slow the car, it is not the job of the clutch, it's the job of the brake. That's what the brake do. Brake slows the car and the brake stops the car. You put the clutch down not to stop the car, to keep the engine running. This is important. Many learners, they get this wrong. They think that if I don't put the clutch down first, the car will not stop or it will stall too early. Remember, yes, it will stall if you don't put the clutch down, but not in the beginning. You put the clutch down at the end to keep the engine running, okay? So you slow the car and you stop the car with the brake. You cover the brake and you brake gently to slow or to stop. You put the clutch down right to the end, not in the beginning, okay? So don't put the clutch down too early. And the other thing about the clutch is holding the clutch for a few seconds when you move the car off, okay? Many learners, they forget to do that. This is really important. If you want to move the car from a stationary position, or you stop on a traffic light, or you stop anywhere, wherever you stop, before you move off again, you need to make sure that you do the clutch control. And the way you do the clutch control is by giving gas, and then you bring the clutch to the biting point. When the car starts to move, this is what the problem is. Many learners, they forget to hold the clutch. Keep your feet still for a few seconds when the car starts to move. So let me repeat this again. For you to move the car, you put the clutch down, you go to first gear, you give gas. Then you bring the clutch to the biting point. When the car starts to move, feet still for a few seconds. Hold the clutch at that point for a few seconds. Many learners, they don't do that, and that's when they're stalling the car. Okay, make sure you hold the clutch there for a few seconds when the car starts to move. Once the car moves off fully, then gradually bring the clutch up and give a little gas. Remember to hold the clutch at the biting when you need to move the car off. Many learners, in the beginning, this is one of the major problems for them, is because they forget or they to hold the clutch or keep their feet still for a few seconds when the car moves off. Okay, so make sure, remember to hold the clutch for a few seconds when the car is moving off. Worrying about the car behind. Now this is a very common mistake for learners, especially in the beginning when they're learning and they go to a traffic light and they're waiting. What they're doing is they are more worried about the car behind than themselves. they are thinking, what if I can move off on time? What are they going to think? Okay, now obviously you will have to think of others on the road, but you could only do the right thing if you think how you are doing, what you need to do. Okay, if you don't do the right thing, it's no point worrying about the car behind, because you're always going to worry about them without doing the right thing. If you do the right thing, if you know what you're doing, maybe you are slow in the beginning for first few lessons, that's fine, that's part of the lesson. You are allowed to do that. You are a learner. Okay, your instructor is helping you anyway, and he's taking you to a place where he believes you could handle it. Unless you go there, you're not going to learn. Okay, so every now and again you will stop on the traffic light and there will be cars behind you. That's fine. Don't worry about them too much. You need to worry about yourself, how you are going to move off. Okay, if you worry about them, you will stall the car and you will make it even more longer, and that's not going to help the situation, is it? Right? You need to make sure how you need to move the car off. So yes, bear in mind there are other cars behind you, ahead, on the left, on the right. That's fine, but just make sure you know what you need to do, how you're going to move the car off. The more you think how you are going to do it, more you are helping others, because you will move off on time. You worry about them, you will stall the car, you will make even more longer. It's no point of thinking of others. Okay, so don't worry about the car behind. Think of how you are going to move the car off and move off safely. It'll take a little long, maybe in the beginning, but that's fine. That's part of learning and you'll be okay. And last but not least is to enjoy and learn. Okay, the mistakes I've just went through, these are common. Most learners are making those mistakes, so you're not the only one. If you are making those mistakes, I wouldn't worry too much. I would keep learning and try to enjoy as much as you can, even though if it's hard in the beginning, but that's learning procedure. That's part of learning. Try to learn as much as you can, keep enjoying learning, and you will be fine at the end. Okay, trust me, I've seen it for the last 20 years. So my advice to you is, these are the common mistakes learners make. Learn from them, don't worry about them, and enjoy learning, and you will be fine at the end. Okay, that's it for this video, and I hope you've enjoyed the video. If there are some common mistakes that you are making which I didn't cover in this video, please do let me know on the comment. And if you like the video, please do give a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos, and hope to see you again on the next video. Bye for now.